Good morning, everyone. I hope you are doing great. Welcome to the first class of Organizational Development. I am Ms. Lavan. I'll be teaching the Organization Development course this semester, and we are going to learn about what is the organizational development and why it is important. And we will diagnose in the organization development. It's not just a theory, it's all about how improving how the organization functions and growth and adapt, because organizational don't fail because of the strategy alone. They fail because of the people and the system and culture. So that is exactly what we are going to fix in this course. So the learning objectives for this chapter is to defining and describing the practice and study of organization development, and then describing the history and the relevance of organization development, and finally distinguishing organization development and planet change from other forms of organization change. If we define organization development, we can say that it is a system-wide application and transfer of behavioral science knowledge to the planet development and improvement, and also reinforcement of these strategies and structures and processes that lead to the organization effectiveness. When you are talking about a system, it means that organization development does not focus only one department. It focuses on the whole organization, like management, employees, and culture, and communication, and a system. So organization looks at everything together as a system. And when you're talking about the planet's development, when organizations want to change, does not happen by accident. It is and not randomly. It is all planned. For example, when a company wants to improve a teamwork, they don't wait for improvement. They plan it and they design the training programs and the team building activities and new communication systems. So that is a planned change. And the improvement and reinforcement, it means that fixing the problem, and reinforcement meaning that the making sure improvements stay for a long term. When a company improves communication using meetings, but reinforcement making a meeting a regular culture, that is the reinforcement. And we all know that the strategy is the directions of the organization, having the goals and vision and long-term plans, and the structure meaning the organization shape, who report to whom, and department, for having HR department and marketing department and financial department. So if we define in a simple way, we can say that it is a planned effort to improve the whole organization by using knowledge about the human behavior, so the organization become more effective and more successful. And you have to know that organization development not just about the fixing the problem. It is about to building organization where people perform a better and feel better and also grow better. So now we move to the differences between the organization development and change management. So it is enough for any organization to change quickly, or should it also learn and improve for the future? So there is organizational development that focus on develop both people and also organization. Developing for the people, it means that growing their skills and mindset and knowledge, and also help organization improve the system and culture. For example, a company doesn't just train employees on a new system, it also developing a leadership and improving teamwork and building learning culture. And the second one, promoting the value of human self-determination and potential and growth. Help people to promote self-determination, like freedom to think and act, and also continuous learning. And the third one, capability to solving the problem, help organization to solve their own problem without always depending on external help, also adapting to environment. And the last one, help organizations to develop knowledge to change and improvement. But change management focuses on implementing a specific changes successfully, uh, like new technology or new organization structure, and also values and practice are highly pragmatic, aimed to make change process effective and also efficient. And the last one, place importance on how well change is implemented and at what cost and speed, not whether the organizations or its member have learned it. So if we are differentiations between organization development and change, we can say that organization development for focusing on the long term, and change management focusing on the short term and for a specific change, and the organization development focus on people and also a culture, as we said before, like developing also a people and organization. But change management focusing on just a process, and organization development learning orientation, but the change management focusing on the efficiency oriented. And also organization development build a future capability, but change management solving the current changes. We can say that change management is just like passing an exam, but organization development is like becoming educated for a life. So organizations that only manage change may succeed today, but organizations that develop their employees and their people and also the system will succeed in the future also. And why do some organizations fail even when they have a good product and a good resources? Maybe because of a poor management and resistance to change and a weak communication. So that's why organizational development is so important, because organizations respond effectively to change and build the ability to adapt in uncertain conditions like globalizations of market and environments and function. Nowadays, we all know that the organizations operate in a global environment. Competition is no longer local, it is international. For example, a business in Slimani compete with the international brands and deal with the global customers and facing the global standards. So that's why we need the organizational development that helps organization adapt to different culture and improving the communication with the borders and developing a flexible strategy, because without organizational development, organization become outstanding. And the second one is to introductions of new technologies and digitalization. What does it mean? We all know that the rapid growth of the digital systems and automation and artificial intelligence, for example, banks moving to a mobile app, and the company using the online market, and the university using the e-learning system like the QIU, we use the e-learning system. The technology alone is not enough. People must also adapt without change of the technology. And the last one, managerial innovation through the restructuring and new forms of work and organizations. Organizations are change how they operate, like flat structure or the remote work and the flexible team and the project-based work. So why do we need it? Because help organization on also help employee to adjust a new role and improving the collaborations in a new structure and build a trust in a flexible environment. So the biggest advantage of the organization development is not solving today's problem. It is preparing the organizations for tomorrow's challenges. If you are looking at this slide, you can see that we have 5 stems on organization development practice, and these 5 stems are not random. They develop it over time as organization faced new challenges. This slide shows how organization development has evolved from the 1950 until today. Let's start with the first one, laboratory training. In 1950s, they are focusing on the individual behavior and the group interaction. Early organization development focus on improving how people interact in groups. For example, training employees to improve communication and teamwork. And in 1960s, the second one, action research survey feedback, also between 1950 to 1960. They are focusing on the database problem solving. Start using the survey and the data instead of guessing the problems or randomly. For example, employee satisfaction survey and feedback session. And third one, normative approach. They are focused on the best management practice. Organizations began adopting standard system like performance evaluation and human resource practice. For example, performance appraisal systems and leadership development. And the next one, quality of work life, started with 1970s. They are focused on the employee well-being. The attentions shifted to employee satisfaction and work conditions through work-life balance and safe and supportive work environment. And between 1980s to 1990s, strategic change that they focused organizations to wide transformations and adapting to external environment, and they started focusing on long-term survival and competitiveness, like restructuring companies and entering a global market and digital transformations. And from the 2000 to the current practice, integrations of all approaches. So today organizations don't use one approach, they combine all 5 approach, because a modern company trains employees and using the survey and applies the best practice and supporting employees and adapting the strategy, which is the last stems is strategic change. So organization development has evolved from the focusing only one people to improving the entire organization strategy. So organization development, we can say it's like human. First learning behavior and then understanding the problem, and next the improving the system, and then focusing on well-being, and finally thinking strategically. So today successful organizations don't rely on one approach. They integrate all these development to survive and grow in a complex world. So now we are going to dive into a second stem of organization development, which is action research and survey feedback. Think about if a manager wants to solve the problem, should they guess or use data? Of course, they should use data. So that is exactly what action research is about, solving problems by using the real data. So action research is a systematic and data-driven process used to identify the problems and taking action and improve organization. So if you are looking at the full cycles, you can see that it's a continuous cycles, not one-time steps. The first step is to data collection. After you identify the problems, you should collect and gather information about the problem by one of the methods like survey, by interview, by observations. For example, when a company or university wants to improve student satisfactions. So students fill out a survey about maybe teaching quality, maybe facilities, maybe communication. So that is the first step about the data collection. And the second one is the data feedback and data analysis. So in these steps, should data is analyzed and the problems are identified. For example, if you see the survey results show that, for example, 60 or 70% of the employee unhappy with communication. So now the problem is clear and also specific. And the next step is to action planning. In these steps, solutions are designed based on the data, and then you should implement the plan that you identified before. In this step, the planned actions are applied. For example, when you launch in a student portal or training sessions for employees or introduce regular updates. And the last step is to follow up data collections. In this step, you should measure the results after change by conducting another survey or the compare a result, did satisfactions improve or not. So organizational development is continuous improvement, not a one-time fix. So action research turns organizations from guessing problems into solving them scientifically. I'm going to think about if you are an employee in any organization, do you perform better when you are controlled or when you are involved in a decision? So this leads directly to the Likert idea. So now we have to know who's Likert and what is his idea. Rensis Likert developed a model showing 4 types of management system, from very controlling to highly participative. So the main idea is to the more participative the system, the more effective the organization. The 4 management system from the worst to the best. The first one, exploitative authoritative systems, and the second one, benevolent authoritative system, and consultative systems and participative group system. The first one is when the managers do not trust employees and employees are controlled through fear and punishment. No employee participations and strict top-down decisions and poor communication. For example, when a manager says, do your job exactly as I said, no question. So employees feel afraid and they are not motivated, only work to avoid the punishment. As the result, the employees perform low and high dissatisfaction. And the second one, benevolent authoritative system, when the managers still control but are slightly kinder, some having some reward and bonus and limited trust and still top-down decision. For example, when a manager said, follow my instruction and I will reward a good performance. So the employee, as the result, employee feel a bit better than before, but still not involved. And the results, employee perform moderate performance and limited motivation. And the third one, consultative system, when the manager consult employees, but final decision is still there. And some participations and two-way communications and employees' opinions are considered. For example, if a manager asks, "What do you think about this plan?" So employee give idea, but at the end the manager decides. So the results having a better motivations and improved performance. The last one is participative group system is the best one. The main idea when employees are fully involved in decision making, having high trust, team-based decisions, and open communication and shared responsibility. When a manager says, "Let's work together to decide the best solution." So, in this time, employees feel value and take responsibility and contribute idea. So, the success of an organization depends on how much it trusts and involves with people. Managing people is just like coaching a team. If dictator coach, so player perform poorly. And if a participative coach, of course, players perform at their best. So organizations don't succeed because of a control. They succeed because of people, when people feel involved and trusted and also valued. Today we learned that organizational development is not just about changing organization, it is about developing people systems and the ability to adapt continuously. And we talked about the change management and organizational development and action research and Likert model. So next class we will go deeper into how organizational development actually works in practice and how organization diagnose the problems and implementing change. Remember that organization don't succeed just because they change. They succeed because they learn how to change continuously. So that is the essence of organizational development. Thank you so much.